Welcome back, everybody. Today we are finding out about the dark side of living in Germany. Is there a dark side? I don't know. You tell me. But I'm interested. Let's go. What is so dark about living in Germany? The music? It's not dark.
The dark
techno
side
is
of
dark.
living in
Pretty dark.
Germany. Hey everyone, welcome
Hi.
back to my channel.
What?
Today I'm talking about the dark sides of living in Germany. There
Okay.
are plenty of great things about
What's
living
your
there,
credibility?
but like every country, it has its drawbacks as well. We'll take a look at some of these potential issues, and you can decide if they'd make life difficult for you or your family.
I will decide.
So stay
You
tuned
can bet
to
on
find
that.
out more on this intriguing topic. 1. Bad internet
Oh,
connection.
yeah.
Germany's internet connection
He's
is
right.
known around the world as one of the slowest and most
But is it dark?
unreliable in Europe. And let me tell you, it can be quite frustrating when your Netflix stream keeps buffering or your Zoom call suddenly gets disconnected. It almost makes you yearn for those simpler times before the digital age. It is one of those negative sides of living in Germany that you only get to know if you stay there for longer. But why?
Yeah, the internet coverage is so bad. If you go with the train to another city in Germany, you won't have internet on the train for more than half of the train ride. And it's very frustrating. And if you go hiking, you can forget about the internet.
Why are we stuck with this less than optimal service?
Yeah, why?
Well, unfortunately,
Why?
it boils down to two things: lack of infrastructure, investment, and antiquated telecommunications
How is this
regulations.
possible?
Essentially, providers don't want to splurge too much on new technology since they already have an existing system in place, which
Yeah,
means you
shitty
end up getting
system.
what feels like subpar performance. On top of that, lawmakers here tend not to adhere strictly enough to competition rules, which stifles any potential improvement. 2. Staff at Ausländerbehörde, German immigration, are so rude.
I've heard that
If
one
you've ever
before.
had the misfortune of dealing with German immigration, then you'll know that it's not always a pleasant experience. The staff at the Ausländer
Yeah, I've heard that many people at the Ausländerbehörde, which is basically the foreigner registration office, that they don't even speak English and that they expect people to bring a translator, which is so ridiculous.
Behörde are notoriously rude and unhelpful, making it one of the negative sides of
Notoriously
living in
rude.
Germany. It may seem like this rudeness is intentional, but upon closer inspection, it seems to be more rooted in cultural
Yeah,
differences.
it's just the
Germans
Germans.
tend to be much more formal than any other countries when interacting with people whom they don't know very well. This
Especially in
often
the
leads
office.
to misunderstandings between immigrants and those assisting them outside the Ausländerbehörde, an awkward situation
Behörde.
for all involved. There have been several attempts by government officials and public figures alike to improve communication between immigrants and their counterparts at the Ausländerbehörde. While some progress has been made as far as etiquette goes, there is still a great deal of room for improvement on both sides, something which many visitors find disappointing each time they visit Germany's immigration office. 3. Difficulty in making friends. As one of the most populated countries in Europe, it may surprise you to hear that many foreigners struggle with making friends here. For starters, directness isn't a joke in Germany. People are incredibly blunt, which can make social interactions feel uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. If anything, it makes it more comfortable because you know what your opponent is like all about. Yeah, there's no fake friendliness. If a German becomes your friend, he's always going to tell you like the truth, what he thinks, even if he's not your friend. He's gonna tell you what he thinks, and there's no like room in guessing, which is so annoying.
For those coming from more indirect cultures, it is one of those dark sides of living in Germany that nobody wants to discuss.
It's the bright
Making
side.
matters
Come on,
worse is
guys.
the rather reserved behavior of your average German person. Privacy and personal
I
space
don't
are held in
understand.
very high regard over here. Not only will you find yourself keeping conversations surface level, but chances are shocking news or gossip won't do too well either.
Yeah,
4.
don't gossip in Germany. That's rude. Gossiping is rude.
No air conditioners. Ah, the summer in Germany, the time of
The
year
2
when all
weeks
the
of
locals
summer.
are basking in sunshine and enjoying the best of what nature has to offer. Except for one thing. Can you guess what it is? That's right, no air conditioners. Yes, my friends, living without air conditioning in Germany can be a real challenge.
There is no air conditioning, that's true. Very little air conditioning. But we have basically 1 month of summer, and it's not getting more than 30 degrees, and everybody can endure 4 weeks of hotness without air conditioning. Saving so much energy wasting installing those things.
Especially
It's like,
during those hot summer days.
you don't need those.
You may find yourself wiping sweat off your forehead every few minutes, just trying to stay cool. A little bit of wind will help a bit, but unfortunately there isn't much around these parts, which can make things quite uncomfortable. It is one of the most annoying negative sides of living in Germany. And while, yes, some people do have access to an AC unit, they aren't as readily available or common as they would be if you were living somewhere else like America or Southeast Asia, where hotter temperatures prevail throughout the entire year. So don't expect any joy from that direction unless you want to burn up a big fat hole in your wallet.
Yeah, it's like pointless to have one here. I mean, I hate sweating in summer. It's 29 degrees now. I'm sweating. It's too hot. But I can endure a few weeks, you know. The rest of the year is cold.
5. Dog poos everywhere, especially big cities. One of the not so great things about
true,
living in Germany.
but it's true everywhere.
Dog poo everywhere. We're talking sidewalks, parks and streets completely blanketed in canine feces. It's like a minefield you have to carefully make your way around. It is a dark side of living in Germany
Oh, so
that
dark.
nobody expects from a first
Dark
world
turds
country.
everywhere.
The thing is, Germans just love their dogs. So much so that
We
it's
do love
become
our dogs.
commonplace to bring your pooch
They even
with
have
you
to
wherever
pay
you
dog
go,
tax.
even to the grocery store. So when these dogs do their business, well, let's just say the streets are not necessarily spared. 6.
It's not that bad, guys. I mean, it is bad, but he's overdoing it.
High taxes. The significant amount of tax that is withheld from a worker's paycheck in Germany is the most significant disadvantage of residing in Germany.
For
The amount of an
Americans, mostly.
expat's income that is subject to income tax might range anywhere from 20 to 40%, depending on their wage. It is one of the true dark sides of living in
The
Germany.
true dark side,
But don't
yes.
despair, my friends. Germany actually has a lot of benefits. For one, the taxes are used to fund some of the most amazing public services in the world. These include free healthcare and education, as well as infrastructure and transportation systems that make life
Free healthcare, that's wrong, because you don't pay healthcare through taxes. You pay healthcare through your social security, which you have to pay extra.
more convenient for
So it's not
everyone.
in the taxes.
7. Bureaucracy.
the
Bureaucracy. It's the bane
That's
of
the
everyone's
darkest side of all
existence.
Germany.
Or at least it seems like that when you're living in Germany. For those unfamiliar
So
with this
sad.
term, bureaucracy is defined as a complex system of rules and regulations used to manage an organization. In other words, it's a lot of paperwork and hassle when trying to get anything done. It is one of the dark sides of living in Germany.
It's so bad. Doing your paperwork in Germany is the least fun part of life. Really, it is. I once spent a whole week doing my taxes for a year. Worst week of my life.
In Germany, bureaucracy is especially rampant. From the lengthy and confusing visa applications to the never-ending paperwork for taxes, it can feel like you're stuck in an endless loop of red tape. Even seemingly simple tasks like opening a bank account or registering your car can often turn into an arduous process requiring multiple visits to various
Damn
offices
right.
and repeated bouts of filling out forms. It's enough to make anyone want to tear their hair out. And speaking from
I
experience,
did that many
when
times.
trying to get through all that bureaucracy in another language with unfamiliar terminology and concepts, it can be downright frustrating.
Even the terminology for Germans is frustrating because they use words no normal person would ever use.
8.
Can't even imagine how a foreigner deals with that.
Too many rules. When it comes to regulations and bureaucracy, the country isn't necessarily known for its laid-back attitude. From strict parking laws to complex residence permits, living in Germany can be a bit of a challenge at times. For instance, have you ever tried getting your driver's license or Führerschein? In most countries, this usually involves passing some tests and voila, you're good to go. Not so in Germany. Here, not only do you need a certain number of driving lessons, but also must attend first aid classes, as well as pass an extensive theoretical exam that covers everything from vehicle construction knowledge to traffic signs to road safety rules.
Construction knowledge.
And then
There's no construction knowledge in there.
there's the practical exam, which includes huge amounts of paperwork. You get the idea by now.
Well, I did my driver's license, but there was no huge amount of paperwork for some reason. But that was more than 15 years ago, so maybe it has changed since then. But I think it's very good that you have to take those classes for driving, those hours, because everybody's a good driver in Germany. And you see that in other countries where you don't have those classes to do, they're very bad drivers. They don't know how to drive. Some countries can just buy, your driver's license without doing a test, which is ridiculous. It's a
9.
safety issue.
Germans smoke a lot. There are certain places, such as restaurants, where you can enjoy your meal without having to contend with cigarette smoke. On the other hand, if you venture into some bars or cafes, then you'll be met with a haze of smoke from all directions, which can really put off non-smokers. We admit that this doesn't make for an ideal environment for those who don't partake in tobacco products themselves, but it does mean there's plenty of opportunity for people watching throughout any given night. It is one of the real dark sides of living in Germany. Another thing about smoking in Germany is how it seems unavoidable during festivals and parties. Smokers will often light up without even thinking twice about it. So if you're not keen on being around clouds of secondhand smoke, then perhaps steer clear of these types of occasions.
Well, it's true that Germans smoke a lot, especially in Berlin, but it's become much less. And in the rest of Germany, it's also not allowed to have like mixed smoking rooms. You know, there's designated smoking rooms where you can smoke in bars, etc. People smoke more than in other European countries, I would say.
Some places have designated smoking areas, but unfortunately, many do not have such measures, always making cigarettes very easily accessible. 10. Racism. Racism is the cruelest dark side of living in Germany. We must accept this awful truth. Don't get me wrong, most Germans are open-minded and accept variety. Some segments of society still harbour prejudice. From subtle microaggressions to overt prejudice, it can be devastating for the victim. Since Germany has been tormented by its past for decades, racial disparity here is considerably more deadly. This implies that race purity is firmly rooted in some parts of society and continues to rear its ugly head when least expected or intended. In conclusion, there are many dark sides.
Well, it's true that there's a lot of people, or some people, that are still racist, but those are the big minority. Small minority? Most people are very open and welcoming. If something bad happens, like those gang rapes a few years ago, then there's an uprising because most of those, or a huge percentage of those, are done by people living here with no visa. You know, they just come here from whatever countries without the permit to stay here. And if those guys are doing something bad, they should get kicked out. Like it should happen in any country. If you don't behave, leave. This was for a while a pretty big issue, but Germany is in the middle of Europe. There's like, I don't know, 40% of the population here has a migration background, not only from African or Middle Eastern countries, but mostly from other European countries. So Germany in general is very open to foreigners because we're in the middle of Europe. There's people from all other European countries living in. So we're used to having foreigners around. It's just that if the foreigners don't behave and they do shitty things in public, then this racism becomes an issue for a good reason. I don't think it's more about the race. It's just about the memes, the cultural memes that people bring. And by memes, I don't mean the memes, the internet memes, but a meme is a thought worth replicating or a cultural view, you know. That's my take on that.
Of living in Germany. While the country offers a high quality of life, excellent job opportunities and cultural diversity, some downsides to consider include higher taxes than other countries, language barriers for non-German speakers, winter weather that many find too cold or grey. As with all decisions about
the weather is horrible.
An individual must weigh these pros and cons against their own needs, desires and goals when making the important decision to move or not move to Germany.
Well, I made my decision. No, I didn't. I was born here. But I tried to leave many times, but Berlin is calling me back. But yeah, Germany is not a perfect country, but no country is perfect because humans are not perfect and non-perfect humans can't form a perfect society. So this video was a little bit exaggerated, but there were a few really valid points. And he got most of the things pretty right. So if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Learning Canteen here. Not getting an apple from me because he's focusing on the dark sides only. And I am not from the dark side. I'm from the bright side. I'm direct. Okay? So with that said, see you guys tomorrow.